All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and the few sisters out there. Mountains like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. This show is inspired. I was watching Apostle Tall's video earlier. I believe it was the one he was talking about his rant. I can't remember. I seen two or three of them. But it was something that he had said during that video, and I remember a story. Like when he's breaking down one particular thing, which I'm gonna bring out, and another precept comes in mind, and I'm like, look at that. This is how the Lord constantly shows you things in the scriptures to verify His feeling towards certain people. All right, that's what His stories are there for, and we have all these Christians and all these apologetics and all these different groups of individuals try to dismiss the idea what we're trying to say, what the scriptures truly say, you know? Because all we do, we don't speak words of our own, we speak what the scripture says. So as I was, listening to the apostle, he was breaking it down, certain stories we read or we overlook, and he was like, when he made mention of this particular thing, like you overlook the thing. So I'm gonna give one example. Well, matter of fact, let me start with this one real quick. Malachi 1:1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I loved you, saith the Lord, yet you say, wherein thou hast loved us. And this is what everybody, most of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have this tendency of not fully grasping what love is. You think love is what the world consider love, an emotional feeling, but love can be also, which in our case, chastisement. We being chastised by the Lord. Matter of fact, I should have started with this one instead first. Hebrews 12 and about, what was it 4? I just want to get to the point. Hebrews 12 and I start at 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chastised and to scourge every son whom he received. So what is chastisement? Punishment. All right, correcting you in your ways. So the Lord loves Israel. All right, he chastises us. This is the act of love. Right? Let me make sure, verified, chastise, to train children, to be instructed or taught of, or learn, to cause one to learn. Chastise, to chastise, or castigate with words, to correct of those who are molding the character of others by reproof or admiration. All right, so we being proven by words with admiration. The Lord He correct us. That's why things don't go our direction. It hasn't gone that direction. Every time something happens is a time of reflection. All right, it's time for you to reflect on what lesson the Lord is trying to explain to you. This the story of Israel alone, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, from the genocide to coming here in cargo slave ships and being mistreated every single day. So you have to ask yourself, why, if God loves us, why He's punishing us? And then you realize, once you come into the truth, you realize why He's punishing you. Because we went off as a people. The Lord has bigger plans for us. All right. It says, verse 7, if you endure chastising, the Most High dealeth with you. And all of us get chastised. All of us get corrected. All right. That means the Lord is dealing with you when things don't go your way, as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chastised not? So the question is, if the Lord loves His particular son, the people that He said that in the scriptures, that he always loved, what son is he that the Lord doesn't chastise? And he's going to explain. He says, but if you be not without chastisement, all are partakers then. Let's say partakers, then you are bastards and not sons. So what the world is seeing, you're seeing everything goes in the favor of a particular people. Psalm 73 and 5. I'm not going to get it. I'm just going to quote it. It says, they're not in trouble like other men. All right. Talking about the wicked. The subtitle of Psalms 73rd chapter is talking about the wicked. So, Job 9:24 tell you the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. So who rules this earth? 2 Ezra 6 and 7 tells you from Abraham unto Isaac and Jacob. When Jacob and Esau was born of him, the hill of Jacob, the hand of Jacob took the hill of Esau. So Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth. So the rulers that be are Edomites. They are bastards. All right, that's what the scripture says. What a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Ashdod is in the Holy Land today, and has been given clues who these people are. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be subject unto the Father of spirits and live? And I have the question to that, absolutely. Right? So let me go back to Malachi 1 and 1. Or 2. It says, I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet you say, wherein I loved us. Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau. Why? Because Esau is the bastard. Esau is the actual vessel that the Lord deemed for, or how should I say it? I'm going to say it in a nice way. Esau is the vessel that the Lord created to fill his wrath. All right. If you want to understand the Lord's power, the creator of all things, then there's only one person on the planet Earth that deserves to feel the power of the Lord, and not in a good way. That's the best way I could say it. So now we understand that Esau, which we all know, the Lord hates Esau. No matter how many people, what they bring out, Deuteronomy 30, I think it's 23. I'm not going to get it. That shall not abhor a Edomite, which means, doesn't mean that when you go into the root word of that, it's talking about the Assyrians. It's not talking about Edomite. The Lord hates Esau. And I'm going to bring out some points of the Lord showing that he does not deal with these people, period. All right. Let me get to the one I want. This is a story that came into mind when Apostle Tahar was talking about in his show. I hope I get it right because I just had it. 2 Kings 3 and 10. Aha, there it is. It says, and the king of Israel said, alas, let me go up. 2 Kings 3 and 7. And he went and sent to Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, saying, the king of Moab have rebelled against me. Wilt thou go with me against Moab to battle? And he said, I will go up. I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses are as thy horses. Well, let me see, who was the king at this time? Jeremiah, the son. Okay, so this is a king. This is in the past when Ahab died. Okay, after Ahab died, this is another king of Israel. All right, so he wrote. Remember, at this time, Israel was split. You had the northern kingdom and you had the southern kingdom. Jehoshaphat was the king of the south, the southern kingdom with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Jer- Jerom- Jeroboam was a king of the north. So this is a treaty, all right? Ahab and Jehoshaphat also had a treaty, but um, Ahab had died after that council. Okay, I want to give a little backstory. In verse 8, and he said, "Which way shall we go?" And he answered, "The way through the wilderness of Edom." So the king of Israel went, and the king of Judah, and the king of Edom, and they fetched a compass of 7 days. So these three kings made an agreement, a treaty, right? It says 7 days journey, and there was no water for the hosts, for the cattle, that they followed them. And the king of Israel said, "Alas, that the Lord have called these three kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab." They took it upon themselves to do this, right? But Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him?" And then one of the king of Israel's servant answered and said, "Here is Elisha, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Elijah." And Jehoshaphat said, "The word of the Lord is with him." So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him. And Elisha said unto the king of Israel, "What have I to do with thee?" Like, so he played him and like, look, because why? The majority of the kings of Israel at that time were wicked. So what I have to do? The Lord's like, what I have to do with you? All right. It says, "Go thee." I said, get thee to the prophets of thy father, and thy fathers of thy mother. And the king of Israel said unto him, "Nay, for the Lord have called these three kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab." And Elisha said, "As the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand surely, were it not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, I would not look towards thee nor see thee." So he completely dismissed the king of Edom. Like he had no reverence at all to say anything to him. If he was pissed off at um the king of the northern kingdom, well, Israelites, called them out on their bullshit, he not even recognized three kings. He recognized three kings. All right. And this little thing, when I read, I'm like, yo, the Lord is cold, because he's like he completely like Edom is nothing to him. All right. He didn't even acknowledge the fact this guy was in his presence, because these little clues show you, and you can read all the way down, which I'm not going to do all that. He did not recognize the king of Edom at all. He said, and he's only acknowledged the presence of Jehoshaphat because Jehoshaphat was a man of the Lord. All right. That was one story. Now, the story that Apostle Tahar brought up, which was ill. You might want to call me now. Whatever. Um, Luke 12 and oh yeah. 7. As soon as he knew that he belonged unto Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who himself also was at Jerusalem at that time. This is when the Lord got locked up because of these wicked ass Israelites. And when Herod saw Yahawashi, he was exceedingly glad, for he was desirous to see him of a long season, because he had heard many things of him, and had hoped to have some miracle done by him. So he thought this was a freaking, like the Lord was just a joke, a missile show. Like, prove it to me. that you who you are. And then he questions with him in many words, but he answered him nothing. Sorry, he answered him nothing. Why? Because he was an Edomite. He was a nobody. All right, that's what he was an Edomite. The Lord didn't recognize this man, and the chief priests and the scribes stood vehemently accuse him. And Herod, with his men of war, set him at naught, and mocked him, and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him again to Pilate. And when you read on, which I'm not gonna, that was a point, and even the Lord didn't even answer to Pilate, because once again, what the only thing the Lord said to him was, "My servant, if this was my kingdom, my servant will fight." All right, and he said, "What? The only way you have power over me is because of what? Because of the Most High." So the Yahawashi didn't recognize Esau, Edom, all right, which was part of this Herod that was part of the Herodian dynasty. He didn't recognize him. Then now he called him a fox, all right. That's so when everybody sit there and try to force this idea that Esau or these other nations matter to the Lord, you better read the scriptures, because it clearly shows that the Lord does not recognize nothing that Esau does. Esau is not in his. He hates him. He hates that nation. All right. They have nothing to do with him. Okay. And even Paul spoke in code about. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick, and I'm gonna get to the other one. Second Thessalonians 2:3. It says. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read this oh, this is NIV. You know what? I never read this in NIV. It says, "Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction, which the man of lawlessness is Esau." All right, he's doomed for destruction, and that day was we call which was 70 A.D. The fall of Israel, when we lost the land. All right, to whom? To the Romans. That was a great falling away. Verse 4, it said, "He will oppose and will exalt himself above everything that is called God and is worship, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God." And that's what Esau did. All right. Esau, the oppose is what his pseudoscience to try to disprove. Because what the problem is with majority of people, they don't want to recognize Esau's natural, uh, um, his natural order, who he really is. He's the natural born adversary to the Lord. He's the enemy to the Lord. The Lord created his own enemy. It's not that far fetched. If God is the creator of all things, the God that you call God, which his name is Yahawah, all right, made his son and made his own adversary. How is it far fetched that the Lord made his own adversary? He controls the good and the evil. And it says, and once again, he does not recognize Esau. Verse 5, "Don't you remember that when I was with you, I used to tell you these things?" So Paul was speaking to them in code, because why? They was in the Roman Empire. We could have said straight up, "Oh, it's the Roman." It's like, look, when I was with you, I told you certain things. I'm not gonna write it in this letter. All right. If you're a man of understanding, you understand what he was talking about. And who's ruling the world at that time, that the known world? The Romans. It says, and now you know what is holding him back, so that he may be revealed at the proper time. So the proper time is now. The proper time is now. And this is why everybody's meant. The scripture says what? Proverbs 29:2. When the earth, when the, sorry, let me say it right. When the righteous bear fruit, the people mourn. When the righteous bear fruit, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. If anything could tell you about this particular time of in history, for the majority of people of the planet Earth, every single person is in a mourning state, suffering, confused. It's because the powers that be so happens to be the people, the adversary of the Lord, who is completely against what the Lord created. All right. And no matter how anybody try to paint it, this man is always in the forefront of wickedness. It says, for the secret power of lawlessness is already at work, but the one who know, but one who know holds it back will continue to do so till he's taken out of the way, which is talking about the Lord, right? The Lord is the one that's allowing these things to happen to show his power, all right? That these people are the people of destruction, the people that was created to be destroyed. And it says, and then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord Yahawashi will overthrow with the breath of his mouth, which is supposed to be the spirit of his mouth, which is whom? The prophets, and destroy by the splendor of his coming, which is coming in his glory with the chariots. The Lord created a perfect adversary that he has to bring out the big guns, all right, to eliminate him. All right. It says, the coming of the lawless one will be accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of display of power through signs and wonders that he served the lie. And that's through his science. All right. Let me get this last one. So the Lord doesn't recognize Esau. He don't consider Esau as anything. The only thing he recognizes him as the wicked, which I'm Second Maccabees 7 and straight to the point. And this is a story of the seven sons. All right, when Antiochus Epiphanes was trying to break their will, and this is what one of the Maccabees had said, and he said, verse 12. It says, and so much that the king, matter of fact, let me go up. It's 10. And after him was a third made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue and right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and from his laws I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Who? Him, never the Most High, right? Because they had that spirit of understanding that death is not what people think it is, that you will come back, right? Which is what? Reincarnation, coming back in the flesh. These bodies, these vessels that we carry, is a gift of the Lord. We're renting, all right? It's so much that the king and they that were with him marvel at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains and Now, when this man was dead, also they tortured and mingled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from the Most High, to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. And who's the thee? Was Antiochus Epiphanes, who so happens to be what? An Edomite. And that resurrection is talking about he's never going back to power again. The Lord is not going to raise him from the dead to give him anything. So he regarded him as nothing. All right. So when we sit there and read the scriptures and his Lord expressly speak of a certain people, you got to consider what the Lord is saying. He doesn't recognize these devils. He recognizes them being devils, but they have no power, no nothing towards the people of the Lord. The Lord's chosen. And this is why, actually, one last one. I went over. Yep. Oh, Ben went over. Wisdom of Solomon 2. Because it's coming. One way or another, it's coming. All right? It's coming. They're coming after us. Let's be real. They're coming after us. And they're going to test the bounds of a man's spirit to see what's in it. They was created to to be disproved. All right. Yeah, that's the best way I could say it. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 2:10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient great hairs of the old. This is the thoughts of the wicked. All right. The thoughts of the ruling class of this world. This is why they decide not to feed the people. They deem the people as useless eaters. All right. You just breathe in their air, eating their food. There's no use for you. And then when we tell you about these people, you have a problem against us. But this is how the elites, they show you consistently, don't give two shits. I was sitting here I'm watching the news as I'm doing this. They was talking about uh, the whole the SNAP program thing, and they're talking about how they, that the USDA, because of the Supreme Court, because of Trump, said, "Oh, you can't give the people anything," and this, that, to the third, and they know people need and want, and they know about the pantries, and they know that it's overflow. Their desire is to destroy the poor of this world. The poor so happens to be you Israelites. This is why Obadiah makes a statement in the book of Obadiah, which is the smallest book in the scriptures, which is the heaviest judgment, speaks about these people like this. This is the exact reason why. All right. But as I go on, and it says, verse 11, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. That's self-explanatory. They don't deem nobody as anything. All right. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not of our turn, and he is clean, contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law. What law? That's the law of Yahawashi. The scripture says, let favor be shown unto the wicked. Oh, wow, I haven't read it in a while. Hold on, let me get this real quick. Salakia, what am I doing? Get this real quick. Isaiah, this is 26:10, right? Yep. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. So they have the opportunity. The Lord is so fair, he gave this man, this nobody, a shot to the throne. All right. He gave him a shot. And even when he had that opportunity, even though with his opportunity right now, he still do wrong. It says, Yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly. And he has the land. He has a land. And what is he doing in that land? He is destroying it. He's destroying that land. All right. He says, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. So despite the Lord actually gave him opportunity, gave him the laws, the statutes and commandments, he is not upholding his part because it was not meant for him. We cannot say the Lord is not fair. Going back to Wisdom of Solomon, second chapter, about the middle of the verse, he said, he upbraideth us with our offending the law, the object to our infamy, the transgression of our education. Because what? This man took the laws of the Lord, that's a cover, yet he breaks every single law that the Lord deemed, right? He professed to have the knowledge of the Most High. He calleth himself the child of the Lord. So they're going to test us, all right? Just like how they tested the seven sons. And when they tested those seven sons in Second Maccabees, 7th chapter, they wanted them to eat pork. When they said no, and they tortured everybody. How much more of us now when they have thrown they dangle that carrot of that MOTB, all right? So they're going to test, they're going to torture, they're going to do whatever it takes to prove if we are of the Most High or not. He was made to reprove our thoughts, so he was created to correct their ass, all right? That the Lord ain't dealing with them. The Lord's not dealing with Esau. He can't stand Esau. All right? Tell you how much, if the Lord said it once, he's not going to change his mind. He's not like men. All right? He's shown you plenty of times in the history. Scriptures tell you that the Lord sees the other nations as spit, as a worthless than dust, especially the lowest form of man. It says, He is grievous unto us, even to behold, for his life is not like other men's life. We say other men, sorry. His way are in another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits, and they naturally are. And I was talking to one of the bros, and we was talking about it. It's a hateful thing to sit there and see these people claiming to be us, and we know in our spirit that we are the sons of God. And these people out there with no evidence, no spirit to them, claiming to be us. So they are counterfeits. But the term doppelganger, all right, they're the complete opposite of us. All right. We are we are absent from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounces the end of the just to be blessed and maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. For if the just man be the son of the Most High, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. And it's not our patience, it's the spirit of Yahawashi. All right. No matter what happens to any of us, that is the will of the Lord. If a man get broken by that, that's the will of the Lord. If a man exceeds that, that's the will of the Lord. That's something man can't comprehend, and the Lord's about to destroy this man for these acts. Period. Let us condemn him with shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. As for the mysteries of the Most High, they knew them not, neither hope they for the wages of righteousness, nor discern a reward for the blameless souls. For the Most High created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. And is it talking about every man? No, it's talking about the Israelite man. All right. Israel was created to be immortal. Israel was created to live forever. All right. Then that's the same thing that that son said. He said, as for thee, there's no resurrection. There's no resurrection for these devils. They're going down. Nevertheless, envy of the devil came into the world, and they that do hold of his side to find it. So it was because of Satan knowing that what was promised to the sons of God that made this whole chain of reaction take place. All right. So Yahawah Bashem Yahshai does not recognize you Edomites. You're nothing to him. So that being said, shalom to the elect of the nations. Shalom.